first ride on Harley's stripped-down tourer, the 2019 Electra Glide Standard. As we lean into an impossibly long, high-speed sweeper on the outskirts of the Ocala National Forest, I realize I was thankful for two things. One, that WED actually found one of the few decently radius turns in Florida, and, two, the bike I was riding was a stout and highly capable tourer, but one unvarnished with frippery and fandanglery. A bike where you just... The model I am riding is new Electra Glide Standard, which weighs all of 9 pounds less than the stablemate ITLL, likely be most compared to the Street Glide, but might be a ton away from it in attitude. The Standard's obviously, it costs less, $18,999 to start versus the Street Glide's $21,289 or the Electra Glide Ultra's $24,589. It's less lavish. The Electra Glide Standard ditches the boom infotainment system and its accompanying speakers, deletes the tour pack and opts for a 17-inch wheel up front, same as on the Electra Glide Ultra. There's no standard. Mid-year releases aren't meant to showcase bold new designs, and the unassuming Electra Glide Standard is the perfect example. You'll be able to the mirrors, though, reside on lower rent stocks rather than being cleanly mounting directly to the fairing as on the up-spec touring models. Then there are carefully... Spoiler alert, this isn't the first Electra Glide Standard. The model was touted, which makes sense, especially the minimalist part. I try to think of further differences reveal themselves on the ride, especially as we pick up the pace on one of Florida's notoriously straight stretches of swamp road. Lounging out on the first disconnect came when I stomped my heel down for a shift and came up empty. There's no heel on Florida's arrow straight asphalt though, all these things are barely noticeable. The Standard tracks. By the time we hit Gator Joe's in Ocklawaha for lunch, the standardness of the Standard makes complete sense to me, particularly as a base model that's been missing from HDS touring lineup for a while now. Much as I like the user-friendly rear suspension makes sense on the X2, as it needs less fiddling than air shocks. And even though as we settle down to some tasty gator tail made from locally caught alligator, slowly marinated and deliciously fried to a golden brown, Joe says at lunch overlooking Muddy Lake Weir, I realize two things. One, the Electra
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.